97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV, Merrimack Valley, open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And good evening, and welcome to the new Open Mic. I'm Bill Masek, and I'm back. I was on assignment last week, and I want to thank Bill Ellis for sitting in the chair and taking over command here. And Bill is not with me this week, but he's a great co-host, and he will be appearing from time to time, I'm sure, here on the Open Mic program. A lot of people have commented on us working together in a good way. So I just wanted to say that I am happy to be back here at the microphone at WHAV 97.9 FM on the Monday night special program called The New Open Mic. It is always my pleasure to take a phone call at any time. We'll keep the phone lines open for the next 2 hours, or almost 2 hours. We go until 8 o'clock, 6 to 8 every Monday night. And we can also be heard and seen in many other places that I will get to. I would like to say that the number to call is 978-374-1900. A real easy number. You should all get that written down and posted on the refrigerator or something, because we want to hear from people. I want the phones to be hot at all times. We have some good guests coming up tonight. We have State Representative Linda Dean Campbell that will be joining us in just a few minutes. And then in the second hour, somewhere around 7:15, we'll be joined by City Council President John Michitson. So we're covering a lot of ground. We're covering all the state turf and also all the local city turf here in Haverhill. So feel free to call in if you have a question, if you have a concern, if you want to make a positive compliment about things going good here in Haverhill, or anything that's on your mind. We want to hear from you, and anything statewide for Representative Linda Dean Campbell. I also want to tell you, as I mentioned, that you can find us at 97.9 on the FM dial. You can also go to WHAV.tv and find us there, and maybe even get a little video with that one. And also, you can find us on Facebook. And so anywhere you go, if you go on vacation and you want to tune in on your Monday night while you're away, or if you're on a business trip or whatever, maybe you're just out of town visiting a friend or relative, you can tune us in on Facebook. I want to say thanks to the boards, the staff, the management, and all of the members of the local cable access stations that are covering us, and especially a big thank you to HC Media for providing the audio-video for our program on their station. And you can call in, as I said, anytime, 978-374-1900. I also have, on top of taking the birthday information, we're looking for March birthdays starting, with this show tonight. And through the end of the month, we will be drawing a March birthday winner for a birthday cake. And the birthday cake is always something that is sought after because they're so good. They come from the Albi's Bakery in Bradford, right in Bradford Center. And always a great product from that bakery coming out for cakes and for pastries and breads and cookies and all kinds of stuff. I also want to tell you we have an extra giveaway tonight. It is a $25 gift certificate that has been donated by Orzo Trattoria, located in the Butcher Boy Plaza in North Andover. And they are accepting reservations for Valentine's Day. And you can give them a call right now at 978-686-6921. That is a fantastic restaurant, definitely one of my favorites. 978-686-6921 is the number for Orzo Trattoria in North Andover. in the Butcher Boy Plaza. So we do have a call, and then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to bring in our first guest tonight, State Representative Linda Dean Campbell. But let's go to the phones. Hello.
Good evening. You're happy whenever you go to any restaurant, I think.
Now, Jerry, none of that.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I've been really kind of little upset here. I read the paper today, and I saw that those people from Bradford are still suffering from this idling locomotive issue.
It bothers me. I don't know what we can do, but we're going to ask our state representative. I know she's right on it, and she has been working. She's going to hire sources in the state government to try and get a final resolution. This has been going on for decades. It has been going on not just for a couple of years.
Keolis.
Yeah, Keolis
they're
is
from France, and they're kind of thumbing their nose at everybody.
Well, it doesn't hurt that they've already, from their perspective, they've already given their notice that they're not going to look to renew their contract. So they're just finishing up this first contract. To the best of my recollection and knowledge, Keolis is going to finish up this contract, but they're not happy being in Boston for numerous reasons, so they're not even going to bid for an extension.
Boston has very, very strict rules and regulations on air pollution and noise.
Well, unfortunately, they're not applying it to Bradford, layover station.
The city of Boston.
You mean the city of Boston? Okay.
Yeah, I mean the city of Boston.
I thought you meant I thought you meant Boston as the state.
Bill, what I'd suggest is the next time, I haven't seen the Haverhill Board of Health much about the Haverhill Board of Health getting involved, and really they have jurisdiction in this in this issue. They have some responsibility here, and I'd like to see them at the meeting.
Well, we need to.
Next meeting that they have, they should have the local Board of Health, and this is just my suggestion, Keolis, of course, the Department of Transportation, Representative Campbell, Senator Ives, and Bruce Tarr, who is really an environmental senator, I'll tell you that.
Great.
I know him.
Good.
I know him, and
That's a great suggestion, and I will pass that along, Jerry. I'll pass it along, and hopefully that may be also part of finding a solution.
Make sure the DEP is there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. What's the difference between Covanta and what's going on over here? The only thing is size, really. Size,
right.
Covanta had a problem with emissions, and what do? They install all kinds of special equipment to address the carbon monoxide, carbon, etc.
Right.
The particulates. They've got all, and they've got they were required to monitor. So when I look at the two, the problem over there with the idling locomotive is small compared to Covanta. But every time there's what you call an inversion. Do you know what an inversion is?
I don't. You know what? I have an idea, Jerry, but I need to stop for a commercial break because our guest is waiting, and I don't want to cut her time short. So if you don't mind, let's get to this a little bit later or some other time. Thank you for the suggestion for the Board of Health to be involved.
I've been trying to get in touch with Linda Campbell. Is there an opportunity to talk to her?
She's here, yes. Let me get started with her, Jerry, and could you call back in about maybe 10 minutes once Linda and I have a little discussion about different topics?
Yeah, make sure that DEP is involved in the meeting.
Okay, Jerry, we'll do that. Let me get back to you in just a little bit on the show. Okay, thanks a lot. This is the new open mic program. I'm Bill Masick. Linda Dean Campbell coming up next, our state representative, and we're here on the open mic on 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Masick and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
Those Boston stations don't always understand weather in the Merrimack Valley. Stay informed with WAVE weather every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day on Soft Gold WHAV.
Catch the wave.
Melinda's Garden Moments help gardeners create and maintain a healthy, beautiful garden with ease, inside or out and all year long. This is Melinda Myers, inviting you to tune in every weekday morning, right here on WHAV. You'll learn creative ways to grow your own vegetables and herbs while beautifying your landscape. Eco-friendly lawn care, flower garden design basics, unique container gardens, attracting birds and butterflies to the landscape, and much more. Again, please join me weekday mornings for Melinda's Garden Moment for a very environmentally friendly approach to gardening. Remember, only local radio can bring you this feature opportunity, but only WHAV does.
Community Spotlight.
Get out those bicycle helmets. There's one more Fatty Walrus bike race taking place on Sunday, February 25th at Haverhill's Plug Pond. Kicking off at 9 a.m., cyclists will have 2 courses available, a 5-mile Timberwolves Loop and a 10-mile Polar Bear Trek. All cyclists must be 14 or older, wear a helmet, and ride a bike with tires that are 3.8 inches or bigger. Registration and more information are available by searching Haverhill at bikereg.com. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at whav.net or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Robin Fancher.
WHAV. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back here on the open mic. I've been chatting with our state representative, Linda Dean Campbell. One of, we have 4 state representatives, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's Haverhill is growing.
Yeah?
And so,
Let me make sure we have a volume level on this mic. We didn't check it. Let's see. Let's see if we can get you, or you just say...
Test.
There, now we're getting you up. Okay. All right, good.
That sounds better.
We want people to not just hear me, but to hear you too.
Right.
Very
yeah.
important.
Exactly.
All right, let me start over. Our state representative, Linda Dean Campbell, is with me right now as my guest for this first hour. And she was I mentioned that we have 4 districts of state representation for Haverhill.
Right.
And Bradford, but hey, it's all Haverhill. Technically, it's all Haverhill. We have, Ayers Village, Riverside, Rocks Village. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Right.
But and especially the people in Bradford like to say they're from Bradford, and that's okay. But you represent some of that Bradford sector, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. I would say a pretty long stretch, actually, from around where Cedardale is, and then moving north, towards where the square is, and a little bit beyond that.
Right. And you have the train district, too,
yes,
don't you? Yes,
that is correct.
Yes, we will
the
talk
infamous
about that.
train district.
Yes.
We should. I would like to.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and you also represent some of the other side of the river, the Haverhill side, right?
Right. Up in the area up around 97. Up where it ties into Methuen, because I also represent about 2/3 of Methuen.
Yeah.
And so it ties nicely into, I guess you would say, northeastern Methuen up there, and that's how the 2 districts connect. So, yeah, it's been really a pleasure to meet a lot of folks from Haverhill that are really involved in their community, and that's been marvelous for me, and I really welcome that. And the other thing is that in this district, Methuen and Haverhill, we're both gateway cities.
Right.
So we really have the same issues, the same concerns, the same needs.
Yep.
So it's all worked out very, very well for me. Hope folks are know that I'm one of the reps and I'm accessible at all times.
Right, and you
Yeah.
are. And I want to say that I know that you're actively working for your district complete, I'm sure, but
Right.
definitely in the Haverhill, Bradford area,
Yep.
you are definitely there when you're needed and even more. So
Well-
you're always there trying to help out. We
thank you.
appreciate that. Let me, you know what? I know a little bit about you. You actually have some military background, right?
I do.
And for the veterans that are listening, and for
Yeah.
people that to know a little bit about you personally, I don't have a black book on you, so don't
Right.
worry about that.
Oh, that's
But-
good.
But I just think that's really cool that you're actually a veteran.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And again, in the Merrimack Valley, we have a disproportionately high number of veterans in the valley. And so it really has been an honor to work on veterans issues with all of our VSOs in the valley. There's a lot of needs. And so to work on that issue personally is very, very rewarding.
That's nice. And I know that Haverhill reaches out to assist veterans whenever possible, in any way possible. And we're trying to do our best, too, to...
Absolutely, and you've got a extremely dynamic business community that reaches out to veterans daily and weekly, and I think that we should be really proud of that. So it really is a cooperative endeavor, I think, on all parts, the private and public sectors. So we have work to do, but I think we're working very hard on the issue, and not waiting for the veterans to come to us, but reaching out to the veterans, and we see that with the private sector as well in Haverhill. They're continually doing that.
Right, and we have a good veteran service officer, and we've got
Great,
housing.
yes.
We got a lot of components, I think, that are all working together and all cylinders firing, hopefully, in the right direction.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what else is going on Capitol Hill? What are a few things that are being worked on that might help us or will help our state? at
Right.
least, which we're all
So
part
we have a supplemental budget coming up. The House is going to be looking at that tomorrow. And essentially, Bill, in that regard, we're looking to really just make appropriations where we need more funding, where just to balance the sheets, if you will. And so there is an issue coming up, though, that's important for, I think, all communities, and that is to ensure that we have adequate funding for special education programs in school, because that affects budgets a great deal.
Sure
Yeah,
does.
the circuit breaker
Sure
for that.
does. Yep.
Yes, so essentially, I think there's considerable concern in the House that needs to be increased in this supplemental budget, and I think that's something that we're going to be looking at very carefully, and there's a lot of support for that in the House. So we'll be looking at that on
Right.
Wednesday for sure.
How about some money for the Cogswell Reinvented?
Yes, so the Cogswell is a project very near and dear to my heart. And we have a great group of volunteers who are leading
I love
this.
that group.
Oh.
From their first presentation, I said, this is like a blue ribbon panel. If you were selecting people to be on that kind of a makeup of people that are involved to make it all happen,
Right.
they're there. They have experience, they got knowledge, they got drive and know-how.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
They're great,
I'm
and
100% behind them.
well, thank you. And I know that it's coming up on council here very soon to renew that lease.
Right.
And I can't tell you how much support there is for this project in the community. It just and these volunteers, again, as you said, they are the ones that did all the very difficult work early on, reaching out to those in government, but also just raising that private funding early on, so that now when they go to to apply for grants, it's a little bit easier. Not a lot easier, but it's we're definitely moving in the right direction in terms of leveraging some public funds. So it's definitely at the point where I've told the mayor many times, we're not going back. This is going
No, we
forward.
can't. Gotta-
We are going forward.
Got to go to the finish line
yeah.
now.
And
Absolutely.
it fits in so well with the community, and when you have the rail trail there too, it's very walkable from the rail trail to what would be an art center that would be used by seniors, families, students. And the building itself has just the most incredibly unique and beautiful architecture that it definitely has to be retained by the city
I agree.
for the city.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and they're going to do it right. So I love what they're doing.
Yes. So in the this last. I've been trying to get small appropriations, moving it forward in the budget. There's certainly not enough to keep it going, but they're enough to push it kind of to the next level and show some public support. And just recently we had a bond bill that came out in the House and the Senate, and there's a little bit over $200K for that. So we're gonna work with the governor to pull that money in.
I know money's tight.
Money's really tight.
But that's one location that you can give them some and feel good about it going in the right direction.
Right. I think they've proven themselves that they're very, very good at what they do in community engagement. And so I think they have the respect of folks within the nonprofit sector for moving this forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to create such a missing entity in Haverhill, for arts and what they're going to bring to the table
Right.
and the things they're going to do. And it's going to be great for, I think, kids and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
adults and seniors. It's going to have a plug-in for everybody.
Right.
And it'll be enjoyable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I want to mention 978-374-1900 is the number to call in if you'd like to get in line to speak to our guest, State Representative Linda Dean Campbell. As our conversation goes on, you can give us a call. We have lines open right now at 978-374-1900. Now, what are you working on for bills? Anything you can talk about?
Right. Well, wow. It's, in the legislature, it seems like sometimes you can work on something for 10 years and nothing happens, and you should still do that. Absolutely. Sometimes log jams break up and things come together. And I'm very, very fortunate because I have some legislation that I sponsored, which has now been changed with some great input from all of my colleagues through the committee process that's now moving forward. And it's pretty exciting. One of them, I think, that has been in the press recently is to improve our civic education in our schools.
Yeah.
And
Great.
I'm very fortunate. I got a big break here, Bill, because I'm the sponsor on the House side, and Senator Chandler, who is now the Senate President,
That's right.
is the sponsor on the Senate side.
Ah.
So
Got a little
we've
extra
got
clout.
we've got some clout and some horsepower here. So
Yeah.
and in fact, it was just discussed at the weekly meeting between the Speaker and the Senate President. And the governor. They meet every Monday to discuss what's coming up, and the governor is very excited about this too. And it's a confluence of a lot of things coming together. Nationally, it's being looked at in terms of curriculum. So right now in the schools, we don't have what we call civic education. We assume that in the process of social studies that students will get the basic knowledge.
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as civics. It used to be a required course and is no longer. So this brings that back, and what we're looking to do is in the 8th grade level to provide them with the facts, if you will, or the basic knowledge about our founding documents, about the laws, both of the city and the state and the federal government. Just give them that baseline understanding of the documents that govern us. And then the emphasis that I have tried to put on this after talking with teachers across the state for the last 2 years is that they want students to have some kind of hand-on experience. So, in other words, don't just give us another test to test them on their knowledge, but try and develop a system whereby these students come to understand that government is going to play an important role in their lives.
Great.
And so, therefore, it's important for them to be able to affect change in government and to be part of a community that makes demands of their government, and to be involved and engaged, if you will. That word is overused, but to ensure that they have a voice. And we know that the millennial voting numbers have not been what we would like them to be, and so we felt that this was a call. We need to re-engage young people in this aspect of taking a project in high school and something that's of interest to them, whether it's water quality, whether it's, hey, maybe high school should start later in the morning, get out later in the afternoon. Issues that they feel passionate about, that they want to do some research on and do a project that they can present to their peers. And similar to what we do for science projects, to have them really relate to someone in government, in the community, on an issue at the local, state, or the federal level that they feel is important.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think it's real needed too.
I think
really needed.
I think it's needed.
And when you talk about the amount of people there aren't enough people registered to vote.
Right.
When you look at the total population, let alone the percentage that comes out and actually does vote. And I always, I never say anything, but when people say to me, "Oh, I only vote in the national, I only vote for the president, the national election," you should vote for the local and the state elections too,
right?
Because that's really where you have probably a little bit louder
more say,
voice,
right?
Yeah.
When you look right now at our current situation, it's not always like this, and it's going to change. But right now, there's such stalemate at the federal level.
Oh, it's terrible.
So really, the governing is being done at the state level, and by necessity. So this is where things are happening right now in government, and so it's a really I think exciting time to be in state government, because we really are looking to innovate and conserve funding and to find ways to do things in a cost-effective way, and we have to lead on issues such as health care and the environment, because we are we're tasked to do that. So it's a great time to be in state government.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, we have to take a short break. We'll be back though. You're going to stick around, I hope.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take a short break here on the new open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic.
Bill Masek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 6:34.
97.9 WHAV.
Catch the wave.
Would it surprise you to know radio still reaches more than 90% of people in every age group every week? It's a fact. And 97.9 WHAV FM's target audience averages 92%. While other media are cutting back, area residents turn to WHAV for local news, information, and entertainment they cannot find elsewhere. Add what has been called the halo effect of public radio, and listeners find business messages more credible and trustworthy than other forms of advertising. For a no-obligation assessment about how WHAV can help your business reach more people than all other local media combined, call 978-374-1900 or visit WHAV.net.
Wave weather.
Here's the wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Tonight mostly clear, low 15. Northwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Tuesday mostly sunny, high 32, low 22. And the outlook for Wednesday mostly sunny skies with a chance of rain developing at night, high 47, low 36. I'm WHAV meteorologist Jim Vaughn. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back My guest is State Representative Linda Dean Campbell, and the phones are open at 978-374-1900. So just dial or punch me up, and we'll be fine. And we'll take your call, and Linda will gladly do her best to answer whatever questions you throw at her, right?
Yeah, I absolutely will.
Okay.
You'll get the straight deal.
You bet. I'm sure. Now, we had Jerry on the line. He's a regular caller here, and he was asking about, he's been talking about the spillage, for lack of a more appropriate way of putting it, that came from upstream in the Lawrence area, but I hear it also happens even at other locations further up in the Merrimack River. And because Haverhill is in the process right now of not really having a river extraction, but it's going to be a river bank buried system where there's some cleansing through natural layers of soils and that. But still, I don't want that kind of stuff getting into my upstream river that little by little it's going to come down where we're going to be putting it into our main drinking water, and then it'll get filtered again, in our brand new filtration. We're rebuilding the wastewater and the water filtration plant. It's good time for that. So anyway, with all that being said, it seems like it's an easy fix. All we need to have is a dependable generator at these locations to stop it from spilling over and going into the river. Is that true?
That is true, but also I think one thing that has to be discussed or understood is that we've had a deficit in spending, in federal spending. Your funds that come for clean water. Obviously, we have the river coming in from New Hampshire, so it makes no sense for it to be strictly a Massachusetts issue, and it's not. And we do some collaboration with New Hampshire. We've actually had, some spillage up there and some emergency situations. That being said, these systems are ancient. And that just goes without saying, and they require a tremendous amount of money to upgrade. So what we have to do right now, absent, a large federal program to address this, say, for example, in the city of Lowell, how much it's grown, and the update to that system hasn't happened for decades. So it's very understandable, and we know that the weather is going to present itself in such a way that we're going to get some deluges, and that makes it very challenging for these systems. So we have to kind of do what we can at our level, and one of the things that we can do is make sure that, one, we have a good warning system that mayors can take and put out there in their communities that, listen, there's a problem right now. Take heed, be careful for the next 24 hours or so. But we also, I think, have to look at our generator systems to make sure that when they're turned on, they work. And we're in the process right now. I did file some legislation. It's going to take some work because I want to talk to the folks that run these districts and get some input from them. Because what we've learned is that different communities have different generation backup. So it's going to be a challenge. Some of them it's solar based, and some of them it's battery based, and so we have to, I think, make sure that we have some legislation that is respectful of the challenges that they have across the state. But there's no doubt. I mean, generator systems, if you don't use them frequently and, once every couple of years you flip that switch and expect it to work, it's not going to work.
Well, I think you were looking for quarterly testing, right?
Yeah, we're looking to do some testing, and we want to make sure also that we talk to the folks that work at these systems and find out some of the challenges that they are having in terms of funding for their current systems and what state their current systems are in, because now's a good time to ask that question.
Right.
So we're going to take some time. We're working with the advocates throughout the state and the environmental community and the different ways that communities have these backup systems, and they vary greatly. So we're going to take our time, but we have filed it. And now we're going to do our due diligence and get some input from around the state.
That's great. I know, but it takes somebody like you to try to be the leader to get these things done. And I appreciate the fact that you're looking into this, because it's something that I think everybody should be interested in, and it's important, especially to the communities that are downstream in a sense.
Right.
We cleaned the Merrimack up. I can remember when I was a kid, that used to flow different colors with the Lawrence paper plants and that, depending whatever they were having for dyes coming down the river. Oh, look, it's white now. Oh, look, it's turning red. But now we've got the sturgeons back. We care about all the things that are important now, and we got to just make sure they happen. And I'll give credit to City Councilor Joe Bevilacqua on this one. He is the one that has rung the bell many times, and I think right now I feel like he's talking into the wind, but he says the feds, and I agree, should step up.
Right.
And if you don't provide grant money, at least provide a loan system, a low interest maybe, or just a regular interest, just some resource for funds.
Right.
I think that would be so helpful to have everybody have a little bit better operation.
Right, because the cost, and in Haverhill,
they're
it's
good
just
at levying the CSO
astronomical. Yeah.
requirements, and we're going to spend $50 to $100 million before we're done with some of their mandates, unfunded mandates.
Right, and no community can absorb that. No, and the state can't absorb that all into its own.
Right.
So
we need them to pitch in.
Yeah, then we need some help.
They spend lots of money in foreign countries.
Right.
And this goes way back many years. I was talking to Marty Meehan, and he said he was trying to get. I'm sure he won't mind me telling the story because it's a good story that he was trying to do something for our country.
Yeah.
He said he was trying. He couldn't get any traction, is what he said, on a parity bill. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I'm just trying to pass a bill that lays out a number of categories, whether it be bridge building, road building, school building, that we do for other countries that we would have to spend an equal amount or more in our own country." He said, "And I can't get the support for it." And that told me decades ago that's where, I know we help the world, and that's a good thing in a lot of ways.
Right.
But you can't forget charity begins at home, because we're starting to fall apart in a lot of ways, infrastructure and other needs, and everybody's going, no money. Well, we got to figure it out.
Right.
And I'm not saying to turn a cold shoulder on anybody, but at the same time, common sense, I think, has to sometimes get involved.
I agree. And I think, the area of transportation is something that the folks in Massachusetts across the board would say, to your point, spot on. We have to have some investments in transportation, and we need some federal support to do that. We can meet them halfway,
right?
Or maybe close to halfway, but we can't do it all on our own.
That's
And so I think that things go in cycles, as we all know, and there are certainly areas in our country right now where we need to make ourselves stronger here so that we can be stronger abroad. And when we look at the war in Afghanistan, people don't really, I think, are not as cognizant of it as they were to a war like Iraq, where we go in and out and it's done.
Right.
We've been in Afghanistan for
years.
well over a decade,
Yeah.
and the amount of trillions of dollars that has gone into that war, I don't think we all think about that enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
We're at quarter of. Can you hang around till 7 o'clock?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. All right, let's roll it one more time for our commercials, and we'll be right back here on the new open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
Open mic!
Bill Masek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
97.9 FM, WHAV.
Catch Catch the wave.
Hi, it's Gary LaPierre. I worked for WHAV. It was brief. Long story. Tell you sometime. Anyway, become a WHAV member or renew your membership now. Just visit WHAV.net and click on the membership tab.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Okay, we are back again. I'm Bill Masek on the new Open Mic at WHAV, and my guest for the remainder of this hour is State Representative Linda Dean Campbell. Let me mention the phone number, 978-374-1900. Give us a call if you have a question or a comment on what's going on here in our area or even in our state, because I think our rep probably can answer those kind of questions.
I'm not sure if I can answer them, but I can certainly give it a shot. That's
All
for
right.
sure.
Okay. We have a few other things that I'd like to bring up. What about what's going on with public safety? I know that the police are always in our mind locally, and
Right.
also the opioid issues and all the drug busts and
Right.
what's going on.
Right. So, we everyone knows that community policing has become more and more important as time goes on, and will continue to be so. So I have a bill that's moving forward, and it's been years in the making. All of legislation usually is. This piece of legislation is to help our police officers safely and effectively deal with incidents of individuals that they encounter that are in mental health crises or related substance abuse crises situations. There was not too long ago, I think the perfect example to explain this is not too long ago down in Hingham, there was a young man that committed suicide, and the situation was, it was on the front page of the Globe, but essentially his parents called after they had done everything that they could, and they called the police and asked them to, maybe send a police officer over that could speak to him because he did have a weapon in his room. And unfortunately, the response to that was a massive police presence in the neighborhood. And the parents had specifically requested that not occur, and unfortunately the end result was very tragic. So there is a program that is called Critical Incident Training. It's a 40-hour program for our police officers. It's widely respected. The police officers are very supportive of it. In many situations, what happens, it's a small grant program, and the same communities end up getting the grant every year.
Yeah.
So our legislation is essentially trying to make this grant money and to stretch the money so that it's offered to police communities throughout Massachusetts, because mental health is not confined. These crises are not confined to to Boston or to Springfield. They're everywhere, and so the police have been absolutely fantastic. That's who we met with first, and we've had many conversations with many police departments across the state. And the governor has also recognized this in his last budget, so we have a little bit of money to start with. So we want to make it a situation where we can have it more training available and make it easier for the departments, so that they're not necessarily developing the curriculum and doing the training and doing a lot of work that is really takes up a lot of their time, to have this so that it is available to them, and reduce the funding for them so they don't have to pay overtime for it. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
It's good. These new outreach approaches, I think, are usually good thought and help overall, because nothing stays static. You're always
Right.
looking at it, trying to make it a little
Update it,
better,
right.
update it, widen it.
Right, because there's a lot of communities across the Commonwealth that do a really good job with this, and so we'll have a place where that information can be shared, and we also have some input from police communities across the country that are using different tactics and approaches to this, so it's been really collaborative. And just in Haverhill, how thin the police force can be stretched.
Yeah,
And it's
and they do an incredible job. but
absolutely
just-
do.
We need more manpower.
Right.
We need more
presence on the
boots
streets,
ground.
right? Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely.
You bet. So having
Thank God for technology. I mean, our chief has been great in putting up cameras and having as much technology as possible
Right.
to make up for the shortage that we have in officers.
Right, and I can tell you, we are very fortunate in the Merrimack Valley. The chiefs that we have and the senior leadership and the police officers on the street, we're very, very fortunate because
Yeah, we
they
are.
are super committed to their job and they know what they're doing. They keep their training at a very, very high level, and we're very lucky here in the Merrimack Valley.
Yeah, and in Haverhill, I know how dedicated the
Yes.
force is, and our firefighters the same way. What are we doing for firefighters? Anything coming down the road to help them?
Well, one of the bills that I filed that seems to have some support is we have an alarming rate of cancer among firefighters, and we know where it's coming from. It's just the chemicals that we have in our homes and in our businesses.
When something burns.
And when something burns,
What they breathe.
it's toxic.
Yeah.
And so we know where this is coming from, but it's an alarming rate of young firefighters that are coming down with serious cancer. And so we're looking to have, this sounds simple, but it's expensive, looking to have a program where we can have some public and private money put in place so that they can at least have a washing machine to wash their gear, because when this stuff gets in the gear and then they sweat when they go into into a situation, then that stuff is going into their skin. And so something as simple as that can make a decent difference.
And that's the first time I ever heard that thought. So
Yeah.
it is.
It came from the wife of a firefighter.
Yeah.
She, her husband passed away at a very young age, and this has been her cause, and she has educated many people, and the firefighters in general, the state organizations are supportive of this, and so, like, again, it's not a high cost ask, so we're hoping that we can make some progress on this.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Maybe we can get donations. Well, can
Yeah,
we do that?
we want to set it up. And you know, and I know, there is such respect for our public safety officers in our community.
Absolutely.
People really want to give to those folks.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that there's in the legislation we have some provisions that this can receive private donations.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And let's see. I want to mention again the phone number in case somebody wants to call in, 978-374-1900. We're talking with State Representative Linda Dean Campbell, and she's going to be with us for just about maybe 6 or 7 more minutes.
Okay.
So we're getting in the fourth turn here,
Yeah.
and we're heading towards the home finish line. Now, what about schools? We haven't talked about schools much. Because I will tell you that the honking school that we now have up and running is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I walk into that school, and I usually just say it to myself, but I say something along the lines of 1 down, 3 or 4 more to go.
Right.
And because it's almost unfair to the kids in the other schools throughout the city for the technical advantages that school is just, it's a 21st century school.
Right.
And we can renovate and paint and do good stuff in the other schools to make them as good as possible, and we should. But the other thing is we've got a couple of schools that would like to try to get back in the pipeline for either major renovation or replacement.
Right.
And I know that in particular Councilor Colin LePage is leading that charge to get back in that queue, in a sense, to have some state money. So is the state money going to probably stick around
Right.
for a while because we have to earn our turn again.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to earn your turn, but a lot of times what's important in earning your term, and let me just say this, the school department in the city of Haverhill, when they put together that hunking project proposal, it was an excellent proposal. It was very easy for me to take that and sell that. The good news is that they're already working on these proposals moving forward, and to the extent that when they're submitted, the good news is that when they're submitted and they submit a good project, you don't have other elected officials come in and steal it, if you will. So they are on that, and so you're right. It's got to be a continual process. When one's done, you're halfway through submitting the next one, and it's just in a city the size of Haverhill, it's a revolving process. So that process is underway, and I can guarantee that the delegation that we have, we will be on that like there's no tomorrow.
That's great
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah.
Great. So there's.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight.
Well, this has been amazing. This is
less
really
than
great.
An hour.
Yeah,
Less than an hour, and we've covered all your bases.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're doing more.
Right.
I'm sure you're always
Well,
doing more. But it's nice to hear that you're proactive. You're not just looking at other people's legislation. You're presenting bills. You're
Right.
co-presenting, and that's so important. Now, just in the last couple of minutes here, can you tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about how the state legislature works? That there is a cycle. It's almost a 2-year cycle that it
Correct.
takes for something to be filed before it
Right.
comes out of committee, right?
Right.
And then it has to,
Right.
it's-
Right. We have in Massachusetts, we're fortunate, we have a very open process in terms of filing legislation. The upside of that is that we get thousands and thousands of bills, and the way that cycle works is that the first year we have laws that require that all of these bills have a public hearing. And to me, that's critically important because that's where you learn from the folks that actually have to implement the legislation that we want to pass sometimes. So that's important. And that process takes almost a year to get those bills out of committee. And so right now we just approached a deadline whereby if a committee wants to kick a bill out to have it go further to another committee or to be considered on the floor, they have to get it out by early February, and we just approached that date now. And so we kind of have a feel for what's left now. And
Yeah.
so now it's going to be a matter of getting it to the floor, and then after that, there'll be likely a similar bill on the Senate side, and then we'll have to have the Senate and the House come together to come up with a final product, and then we take an up or down vote. So the process is long, but I will say this, Bill, you want the process to be long because there are so many unintended consequences of a lot of legislation,
Yep.
and unless you have those public hearings, you really don't fully understand that. So the process is a good one. Legislative work is meant to be very deliberative for that process, for that reason, and so again, we're coming into crunch time where these have been kicked out of committee or they've been, if you will, put into a study, meaning they're not going to go anywhere for this session. So now you really get down to a race against time to get these forward. And then you put on top of that, you put the budget on top of that. So, it's going to be very, very intense.
'Cause this is the year they either get passed or they
And they
don't
gotta
make
start
it.
all over
Right.
again.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So-
they'll start over in 2019.
Right. It's a long process.
Yes, it is, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good process.
And I agree with you that it's a good process because it also gives the different bills time to be digested
Right.
and put other thoughts in and have them kind of be morphed a little bit into something maybe a little better, hopefully.
Right, you do. And,
Yeah.
and like, I'll give you an example. I have a bill to for veterans and housing, and it's in the Revenue Committee. So the Revenue Committee had to look at it. They made some changes. Now they're going to send it over to the Veterans Committee. The Veterans Committee will make some more changes, and by the time it gets through some folks that are very knowledgeable about this issue, and when it gets to the floor finally, it will be in a much better form than when I filed it at the beginning.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're just about out of time, but I'd like you to just let people know how they can reach you. What's the best way, whether it be by going to your webpage?
Right, I do have a webpage, and if you Google State Rep Linda Dean Campbell, it will come up. I'm also on Facebook, and I can be reached, anytime by email. It's representative.linda.campbell@gmail.com. I'm available by phone anytime. 617-722-2000. They'll put you right through. And it's a privilege to work with the people in Haverhill. They're doing a lot of great things for their community.
Great.
So thank you for
And
having
you're
me.
doing a lot of great things, too.
Right.
Thank you for being my guest tonight. State Representative Linda Dean Campbell on the open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM. We'll be back.
Bill Masek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 7:01.
WHAV LP Haverhill.
Here's what's happening in local news. Haverhill City Councilors Tuesday will receive a request to extend the lease of the Cogswell School to the Greater Haverhill Chamber of Commerce Community Arts and Education Foundation to continue using the building as an arts center. The extension and declaration of the building a surplus would give the organization until March 31st, 2019 to buy the building for $175,000. The request will be filed for 2 weeks before being acted upon. A request to approve loans of $1.49 million to stabilize a stretch of bank along the Merrimack River and to complete the Marsh Avenue Main Street sewer extension. The request will be filed for 2 weeks. According to documents filed with the City Council, the loans would be repaid through residents' wastewater bills. Haverhill parents with preschool and kindergarten-age children are encouraged to attend an information session Monday the 12th to learn about the city's new Wildflower Micro Schools, a Montessori-based alternative to public education. As Hillview Montessori ESL teacher Graciela Tria tells WHAV, the Wildflower model mirrors the Montessori school of self-directed, individualized learning.
The way I came to understand the need for the micro school model in Haverhill has been greatly because of my experience in urban public education, which has continued to fail our marginalized communities and our children of color and our special education children, and has institutionalized education to the point where children are practically invisible when it comes to their individual needs.
Ms. Tria served the Haverhill Public School community as its district supervisor of English learner education until she was fired in 2016 after challenging the administration's plans to move English language learners from Tilton to the Silver Hill Horace Mann Charter School. The city's two Wildflower schools, called Zinnia and Marigold, provide a Montessori education that puts a focus on family and community. Such an education philosophy is sorely needed in Haverhill, says Tria.
A real police state about schools. There's, the cameras and the security guards, and it's just a lot of adults milling around trying to prevent crises from happening. The micro school brings things back to the family, the community, and the neighborhood.
Tria and the Wildflower staff invite interested parents to learn about the education alternative at Monday's open house at Trinity Church, where the Marigold School is housed. From 6 to 7 p.m., Tria will discuss the application process and school philosophy, including tuition subsidization options. Parents interested in enrolling their children in a Wildflower school can call 978-361-0793 for more information. A Lawrence man was arrested and 100 grams of suspected fentanyl was seized by Haverhill police during a cross-border initiative on Friday. Wilver Soto Andujar, 31 of 35 Arlington Street, Lawrence, was charged with fentanyl trafficking upon being arrested by detectives in the parking lot of McDonald's restaurant at 1180 Main Street. The drug has a street value of about $4,000. The Haverhill Police Department remains committed to working with our many law enforcement partners in an effort to identify and arrest those that bring this deadly drug into the city of Haverhill, said Detective Lieutenant Robert Pistone. The arrest by the Haverhill Narcotics Division came with the assistance of the New England Division of the U.S. DEA Cross Borders Initiative. Andujar was booked at the Haverhill Police Station and is due to be arraigned Monday in Haverhill District Court, sitting in Newburyport. Longtime Haverhill physician Dr. Carl Rosenblum has resigned from the city's health board, Mayor James Fiorentini said on Friday. His tenure ends March 31st. A pediatric physician at Pentucket Medical, Rosenblum has served on the city's three-person board since the mid-'80s after being appointed by then-Mayor William Ryan. Dr. Rosenblum represented the city with honor and distinction and was an outstanding member of the Board of Health for many decades, said Fiorentini. He's a defender and promoter of the city of Haverhill and has been an outstanding public servant for a very long time. It's going to be very difficult to replace him. The city is actively looking to fill Rosenblum's spot on the board, and Fiorentini is hopeful a candidate with public health background will step up. The new member would serve a 3-year term along with current members Peter Carbone and Dr. Alexander Matulski of Holy Family Hospital. I'm looking for someone who can help and expand the board's role in vaccine clinics and developing strong public health programs around nutrition, exercise, and other quality of life issues, the mayor said, adding candidates need not be medical doctors. Interested candidates should send a letter of interest and resume to mayor@cityofhaverhill.com. Remember, WHAV is the only Haverhill-based news source. There's always more at WHAV.net. From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Eric Scott.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Priscilla Huff. The National Executive Committee of South Africa's ruling party, the African National Congress, is negotiating an exit for President Jacob Zuma. The investigation is fully underway into why a Saratov Airlines jet crashed just south of Moscow, killing all 71 on board. Former Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili has been deported to Poland, Ukraine's border service says. The official portraits of Barack and Michelle Obama have been unveiled.
WAVE weather.
Here's the WAVE weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Tonight, mostly clear, low 15. Northwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, high 32, low 22. And the outlook for Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a chance of rain developing at night, high 47, low 36. I'm WHAV meteorologist Jim Vaughn. Your next WAVE weather in 30 minutes.
Are you listening to WHAV on cable television? If so, join WHAV in thanking the board, staff, and members of your local public access channel. .9 FM WHAV.
Catch the wave. WHAV. Merrimack Valley. Open mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
So do people actually...
Okay, we are back.
All right.
And City Council President John Michitson, who I happen to know quite well, is here tonight as my 7 o'clock hour guest. And thanks for coming in, John.
Hey, Bill, it's great to be
Great
here.
to see you. And we have so much we could talk about. I don't even know if we need notes or anything. So
Probably not.
I know you have some ideas. I know you have some things that Administration and Finance, which I'm on that committee, is going to be reviewing at one of your discussion items that you sent to the committee as to what you'd like the council to kind of have for an agenda long term, I think, or at least for the term.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to start there?
I think that's a great place
Okay.
to start. So on February 20th, we're having an Administration and Finance Committee meeting. I
Right.
think this is what you're referring to.
It is, yeah.
And we're going to be setting goals for the city.
Great.
And that's in preparation for meeting with the mayor.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we can come to some agreements on, let's say, the top 10 or 20 goals, for the city in fiscal year 19. And then the next step would be that the department heads would figure out the resources that they need to meet those goals, and that would be a discussion item during the budget.
Right, okay. So
Review.
would we be doing, following along, at least trying to get close to that Brandeis University recommendation?
I think just the first steps. I think it's
It'll
going to
take a little time.
It'll take a while to do a full strategic plan
Right.
and performance-based budget. But starting with goals, right? Let's say 10 to 20 or so. And let me give you a few examples. And again, I don't know the exact numbers. That's something that we're going to have to work out. But the idea is to set a goal and then look at data to see if you've met the goal.
So maybe pick a few key departments?
Yes.
And work with them?
Like public safety.
Public safety,
For
absolutely.
example,
Right.
and I'd like to see a goal around the opioid crisis. How do we
Absolutely,
How do we reduce or eliminate deaths
Yeah.
due to that crisis?
Right.
And so I would expect that the police chief would come in with a proposal on what he could do. The superintendent of schools would also come in with a proposal
Right.
on what he would do in order to help that situation.
He or she.
He or she.
We're not
That's
we're not
right.
sure
That's
who
right.
that person
Mr.
will
Scully
be.
is leaving.
That's right.
And somebody new is on the way. Another example that I hear when I'm talking to people in the neighborhoods, for example, sometimes they complain about police response to a call that they'll make. And I think overall, people think that our police department does pretty well.
And I think they do too.
And I do.
Yeah.
I do. But, we might want to take a look at, okay, what is the response time to high priority calls? And say that we want to reduce that by 25%.
Right, have a goal.
And so then you
Set a
ask,
goal.
then you simply ask the police chief, what it will take in order to reduce that amount by 25%.
So some analysis, and
Some
you
analysis.
have always been leading the charge for 5-year budgeting.
Yes.
And having and I think it comes from your background, what you do for a living. You're an engineer. You're
I
a
think so.
planner. This is what you're made out of. So
Right.
you think your mind actually goes to that naturally, and it's
So
a good thing.
The way
because-
that it works is, so I've been in politics now since I think 1995, and I took.
You mean public
took
service?
Public service. I took 6 years off,
Yeah.
and so when you come up with, let's say, an idea that's a little bit different, right? It usually takes 5 years before anybody will even listen to you, and then you get whacked around for all the reasons we shouldn't have a strategic plan. And then finally, after enough time and enough pain in the way that we do things now, it starts to bubble to the top.
And I think we're there.
And we're pretty close to being there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now the question is, how do we turn the crank and make it happen?
Yeah, and I like your approach too. You're not looking to just seize everything and change everything.
Right, exactly.
It makes a lot of sense to go slow.
Give it a trial.
Right, and kind of learn as you're doing. And
Yes.
And I think we'll be better off, almost immediately, but also in the long run as it kind of blossoms, it'll be, much better. So,
Well, I think it's more
we need to
important.
do it. Yeah,
It's more important right now because, the mayor has just told us that we can expect less money from the state.
Right.
So we have to start thinking about, how do we address that?
Right.
And of course, one of my other favorite topics, economic development. Well, let's ramp that up to get more money in.
I agree.
Right? And you're going to help.
I'm going to try. I'll
right?
be there for you.
By
Yeah.
developing a master,
We're
helping to
working on it,
develop
yeah.
a master
That was
plan.
One of the things I thought was really important. I'm
Yes.
happy that the mayor liked the idea and immediately threw some money at it so we can formulate a legitimate consultant committee that will have some vision
Yes.
for Haverhill and how we can continue to grow our community.
Right, and also, look for other industrial, or let's call it business park,
Right.
space in the city.
Right.
And then maybe, look at some of these other approaches out there. Some cities will put up a building on spec and then lease it out or sell it and so forth. I know that has to really meet some financial targets
Right.
in order for that to happen.
Yeah, but I think, once they get the idea, if they like, what they do is they go out and they pre-sign people to lease agreements pending construction, and, some
Right.
of the big concerns will do that.
Right, exactly.
so-
And now's the time to do it, right?
I know I tell the old stories, but they're true. The downtown Dust Bowl, which became Pentucket Medical, and the Bay Bank building originally, which is now the Pentucket Bank building, and the completion of the Goki parking deck. The Goki deck was tied into it, but those other two buildings were because the city actually advertised nationally and found Chryson Development out of Maryland, a guy named Freddie Glassberg. He came to Haverhill, liked what he saw, and he's the one that created those two buildings and found tenants for them and made it all happen.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do
And we need
more
to do,
of that.
Right. So, put out the RFP, as I said the other night, for the Goki, parcel.
Yes.
And some of the land that surrounds it too, so that we can get, the best. Let's not leave any stone unturned in a sense. Well, let's do a little bit of everything down there. It's a huge parcel, and probably the biggest parcel that remains, or could be remaining when you take the, not to not have parking. We need more parking.
Sure.
But you
that'll be
also
part
could
of the
do,
package.
yeah, right. You could have a multifaceted package. If somebody wants to do that, if they see the opportunity, let's listen.
Well, I think now's the time to do it because, the economy's still going up.
Yeah.
And but we all know that it's not going to last that way forever. So let's just
Right.
take advantage
Rates
of it right now.
are still pretty low. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. So I think we're headed in the right direction. With your leadership, we're doing good.
And
So-
yours as well. The dean of the city
yeah,
council.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are actually already at a break time, John.
Wow.
And so we're going to take a pause for the cause, and then we'll be right back for some more discussion about what's going on in the city of Haverhill.
Looking forward to it.
Right here on 97.9 WHAV FM, The Open Mic Show.
Open mic.
Bill Masek and the new Open Mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
WHAV is on Facebook. For quick access, visit WHAV.net and click on the Facebook icon.
Catch the wave.
On air or online, 97.9 WHAV serves you. Twice an hour weekdays, keep up to date with exclusive local news and weather. Find out about civic events on Community Spotlight every quarter hour. And better prepare with WAVE weather every 30 minutes. Mass Moments, Melinda's Garden Moment, Soundbeat, and Insight Daily complete the spectrum. Hear classic comedy and drama 7 nights a week at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. Finally, a unique blend of rock and roll hits from the 60s, 70s, and 80s round out the entertainment. Stay with 97.9 WHAV, the only Haverhill-based news source.
Community Spotlight.
The Greater Haverhill Chamber of Commerce is gearing up for its high school interviewing competition and seeks community members to serve as mock interviewers starting March 7th. Students from Haverhill High, Timberlane Regional, and Sanborn High will compete in 3 rounds of interviews, eventually narrowing the field to 5 finalists. Interviewers will be provided materials, questions, a grading scale, and of course, coffee. Interested volunteers can email Beverly Donovan at beverly@haverhillchamber.com. Someone you know is on WHAV. To submit or read your own nonprofit announcements, click on the Contact tab at whav.net or email news@whav.net. In the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, this is Robin Fancher.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
Back on the open mic, the new open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM. I'm Bill Masek, and with me for this hour's guest, I have City Council President John Michitson. And if anybody has a question, a comment, a concern, give John a call at 978-374-1900. We'll field just about any call tonight, right?
You bet.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned the new open mic.
Yes.
So that brings back memories.
Okay.
When Mr. Bevilacqua was doing the...
Jack Bevilacqua.
Yeah. Was doing the open mic back in the 1980s, I think. He may have even gone into the 1990s.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, my father was very outspoken when it came to taxes and when it came to education.
He was.
So
I agreed with him probably 100% of the time, too.
So Jack would invite him in occasionally. And he had me on the floor laughing, holding my stomach because I was listening to it. And he didn't like the questioning that Jack was giving him.
Yeah.
He took the mic out of Jack's hand and said, "Who's running this show, you or me?" And he started asking him questions.
No kidding.
And
That's a riot.
that brings me back to the good old days.
Yeah,
and then, of
those
course,
were the good old
Bill
days.
Pike.
Bill Pike did it for, I think, almost 20 years or around 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's actually an honor to kind of be sitting in this chair, even on Monday nights, to be part of the
absolutely.
The casting of the open mic. I put the new in there because I want to do it a little different. I'm not looking to copy anybody.
Sure.
Not that anybody did it wrong, but it's kind of my show now, and I want to. We're going to, through time, we'll become better and a little different. But
sure.
Yeah, I just want to.
You're off to a great start.
But to me, I want it to be, a program for all the listeners. To me, the phone lines are always open, and we'll field any question, even if it goes off topic. So, 978-374-1900. Unfortunately, this show has not really gathered the amount of calls it should have. People listen, though. I mean, it's amazing how many people tell me that they're listening to the program or even watching it on cable. And it's also available on Facebook. And so there's a lot of outlets where people can, get to hear the Monday night open mic. So, it's a great thing to have. It's great for the city.
Eventually they'll call in.
Hopefully, yes. I remember when Pikey did it. I used to. It was on 5 nights a week, and that's when I think Haverhill had a political pulse.
Oh, it was much different.
And people were interested and they listened. It was much different.
Right.
But hopefully we can find that same kind of interest in a Monday night program that talks about everybody's community.
I think the big difference back then, and this is just my opinion, passion.
True.
Right? People had a lot more passion. You can go into the coffee shops now, and every now and then somebody's going to pull you aside and start talking about an issue with a lot of passion. But back then, it happened all the time.
Right.
People would talk about, I hate that city councilor. He did this and he did that. And, it was just the wild west.
Right. But there is a lot of negativity, and that's what you just said.
That's true. That's true.
I wish people could turn on the positive dial a little more. for all causes. And,
Sure.
If there's something wrong, maybe you help by an idea, because we're open to that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So you did a great job at the inauguration on 1/1/2018. You had a lot to say.
Yes.
And a lot of vision, once again,
Yes.
as to what you'd like to see come along in Haverhill. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to bring up again tonight?
Well, I think the theme of that was that we're finally there. Some of the things that I've been fighting for 20 years were on the cusp. And we already talked about one of those, and that is performance-based budgeting.
Right.
I think we're on the cusp. We'll take it slow. We'll see how it goes. The other one is economic development, and more specifically, getting Haverhill engaged in the innovation economy.
I was just I'm looking down at it. I have it here on my cell phone, and innovation is one of the things, the innovation economy. And we had the Mass Innovation Night.
And it doesn't have to be, that we're going to attract Google or even Amazon.
Right.
Even though we did try.
We tried, yeah.
We gave it our best shot for that. But, let's try to find some area that we can get known for, that we can build a brand for. Like in advanced manufacturing, I think we're really poised and positioned
Right.
for that, right, based on our workforce that we have. And let's face it, our number one selling point is affordability.
Right.
And so when the smart people that gather, in the Seaport District and in Kendall Square in Cambridge,
Yeah.
right, they come up with the big ideas, and they may try to develop their ideas, even locally there in Cambridge and in the Seaport District. But when it comes to manufacturing their product, they can't afford that.
That's right.
You know how much a house costs now in Boston?
We have the workforce, and we have the diversity, I think, of employees that
Yes.
a lot of different
We do.
people train different ways that live here in Haverhill in the Merrimack Valley.
Across the board, actually. Sometimes people think that, we're kind of lean towards sort of the blue-collar jobs, but that's just one part. And,
Right.
and by the way, those are the jobs that we need in Haverhill.
Right.
But we also have people that are professionals in the biotech industry, right? Because they're smart people, and they can't afford to live in Andover where they grew up. So,
Right.
so they come to Haverhill. So we've got the full gamut right here, right now. And the other thing is that 20,000 people leave Haverhill every morning. And unfortunately,
In a
I'm one of
car
them.
or a train, right?
You got it. And it's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a really long day. People would kill to have an opportunity
to work here.
right here in Haverhill, the place where they live.
That's right.
So let's do it. Let's try to invest that energy to make that happen.
Absolutely.
And-
Great idea. We have a phone call, John.
We do.
We
Oh,
do.
no.
Somebody wants to talk to you.
All right.
All right. This is the new open mic program, and my guest is City Council President John Michitson, and you are on the air with us. Hello.
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 Can you hear him, John?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Tim Coco, Safety Advisor.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We can
We can.
hear you.
Okay, I want to discuss a little bit more about Plugs Pond.
Okay.
Okay, are you guys listening?
We're listening.
Go ahead.
All right. For one thing, that ramp they got out there in the water, it's an eyesore. Get it out of there. Put a good one in there.
Do you live in the area?
Of course I do. Do some fixing up there. You've already started. Let's finish the job.
What
Get
else?
The place looking good so fishermen can go there and enjoy life.
What else do we need there?
What else do we need there? We'd
Okay,
like some
thank you.
chairs, some trees.
So you want it dressed up a little bit. What's wrong with the ramp? What's wrong with the ramp? Is the ramp dangerous? Is
Put some clothing on it.
All right. So you want some more trees, and you want some furniture, lawn furniture.
Bench chairs.
Benches.
Fireplaces would be nice. A basketball court would be nice.
Okay, we're going to pass this all along to Vinnie Ouellette.
A horseshoe pit for adults.
Some of these things create liability. And so
I know they cost money.
No, not money. No, even if we could buy them, it's the liability. Horseshoes.
That, but if you fence it in and it's adults only, you'd be okay for a horseshoe pit.
Okay.
I would think. In basketball, the same thing. You got the little shed right there. You could supervise it right there.
Yeah, basketball's good. Yeah.
So do you use it?
If they don't mind, take it away from them. Take the ball away and say, get out. Don't come back.
So do you use it for anything now?
Can you use it for anything now? Well, they did have an ice skating rink in there at one time.
No, do you use it?
Do I use it? I go to the pond fishing, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you basically use it for fishing.
I'm retired and I go to the pond fishing, but I see a lot of people go out back in the shed out there and do their duties. They should have an outhouse up there year-round like they do at Swayze's Field, so the fishermen can use it, keep it clean. It would be nice. Keep your trash in barrels.
That's a good idea.
Those are all good ideas.
Those are all good ideas, and we...
Also, I would like to suggest that you people pay attention to the bicycle riders in the city in the summer without lights, reflectors, plates. It's not right. We had to do it when we were kids. We had to have all that stuff on our bicycles. Give them a ticket like you do us driving cars.
Well, I think the safety on a bicycle is very important. When you talk about lights, and I don't know if they use the plate system anymore. I'm not aware that they do, but
certainly the lights and the reflectors.
The lights and the reflectors.
They wear dark clothes. They cut out in front of you. Come on.
Yeah. Well, a little training too as to how to ride your bicycle couldn't hurt. But I think that's a real good point. We don't want any kids getting hurt riding bicycles. I actually big advocate for bike lanes, and we actually asked that start to be implemented so that there'll be designated routes and signs and things to help.
Also, the Merrimack River. Okay,
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Merrimack River.
I think we hit a live one here.
We got a good one. Yeah, a lot of info.
Fishing there with lead weights, and they have to use de-leaded weights in the pond. So what's the difference there? Now you're going to turn this into drinking water? I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
All right. So this is your safety advisor over and out, and I'm glad to talk to you guys, and I hope something gets done about the situation.
Okay.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. Call anytime.
I will.
Okay.
Bye now.
All right. Thank you. All right, that was Tim Coco, safety advisor, and it is 7:31. We're going to take a pause for the cause right here on the new open mic, 97.9 FM, WHAV.
Open mic!
Bill Masek and the new open mic will be right back. Get in on the action. Call 978-374-1900. If you're enjoying this program, consider becoming a WHAV member right now. Just click on the membership tab at WHAV.net.
It's 7:33.
For more in-depth coverage of the news, visit WHAV's website at WHAV.net.
CBS Radio. One moment, please. CBS Radio. What's that, madam? Oh, I'm sure I don't know why Johnny Dollar prefers blondes. I'm a brunette myself. Yes, he's on the air this Sunday. I'll get it, Marge. You know, Marge, people really enjoy radio drama. I read somewhere once that it's because it gives their imaginations a chance to work. That figures. CBS Radio. Our Sunday schedule? Oh, yes, madam. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. You're welcome.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is heard at 10 p.m. Sunday night as part of WHAV's nightly drama lineup.
Wave weather.
Here's the wave weather forecast for Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley. Tonight, mostly clear, low 15. Northwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, high 32, low 22. And the outlook for Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a chance of rain developing at night, high 47, low 36. I'm WHAV meteorologist Jim Vaughn. Your next wave weather in 30 minutes.
WHAV Open Mic.
From the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom, 97.9 WHAV FM presents the new Open Mic Show with Bill Masek. Make your voice heard. Call 978-374-1900. That's 978-374-1900.
And we're back. Yes, here we are on the new Open Mic. I'm Bill Masek. And City Council President John Michitson is here, and we got a lot going on in our city. A lot of positive things are happening, a lot of things are happening, and one of them happens to be that we have to face the CCC, the Cannabis Control Commission's regulations. We're not sure where they're going, but because Haverhill voters voted for both medical and recreational in a positive way, over 50%, we have some additional requirements to live up to that vote for what the people of Haverhill have, at least through that election, said they wanted. So I know there's a lot of concern. I have concerns too. We haven't got it figured out, but we have started a moratorium. And what do you think? Where are we going to go with this?
Well, I think that we're actually going down the right path, and I think we did the right thing with the medical marijuana. We took our time. We learned about, what works and what doesn't in other communities. And I think we have a solid plan there where we're going to have one medical marijuana facility located in the business park.
Right, in the overlay district.
Which is an overlay district.
Right.
And I think that is probably the safest way to try it out. Let's see what happens.
Right, and we worked hard to find that location. We reviewed a lot of parcels. We went out and looked at them firsthand with our own eyes, and
right.
to see, and that particular parcel has no residential connection whatsoever. It's easy access off of 495 onto a numbered state route. You turn into that area, and you can. You don't interfere with anybody's personal life.
Right.
It's a business park.
I realize that, the people of the city voted in favor, and so we have to make an honest effort here to introduce, recreational marijuana to the city. I'm a little bit uncomfortable because a lot of the cities and towns around us have decided not to go down that path.
Because they didn't vote in favor of it. So they have that right to not. We would need to start another ballot question to go that route, to start a moratorium beyond the short time to let us just get up to speed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think based on what I've seen so far on the city council, there are a bunch of concerns that we have. So we want to make sure that we do this right, and I think having the moratorium until December gives us some time. And then in March, we have to start looking at, what those ordinances are and what we're going to adopt, what regs, and then try to make the best decision possible moving forward on it.
In the same way we did with medical, as you said.
Yes.
We even didn't allow the first company
That's right.
to actually make it to the finish line in a sense.
Right, and I think the police chief played a big role in that because it was down in the Acre neighborhood, and they've been fighting down there to, reduce the crime and make it a more livable neighborhood.
Right.
And so we ended up shooting it down.
Right.
So, if we go down that path of trying to weigh all the pluses and the minuses, I think we'll get to where we want to go. It's just going to be such a big change.
It's going to be a change, but I think we'll do it right, and I think we'll do it safe, and I don't think it will add to any chaos or any more. If anything, I think there'll be less drug dealing in Haverhill because people can legally purchase marijuana should they choose to do so. I did ask the medical marijuana company one question that was important to me, and that's that their product, probably only about 60% of it, he said, has either a reduced or no THC at all. So there's no high involved, but it does provide a medicinal purpose. It can relieve pain without getting high. So I thought that was very interesting. And it's not all smoke. Some of it is in different tinctures or in foods, and those do worry me a little bit because I don't want kids getting to them. But.
Right, and I'm not completely convinced, right, that it's not a risk. That it isn't a gateway drug. I don't buy all the arguments. The biggest issue that I have with the whole topic is that money is driving the show.
Right.
Right? People are going to get rich on this, and then the same thing is happening in the cities. Right?
Yeah.
They're coming to the cities and saying, well, we have $250,000, $300,000 for you per year.
There's some money involved,
and everybody's
Absolutely.
and everybody's thinking, well, hey, maybe we can help the education cause or the public safety cause. I'm not too sure that. That's a good way of looking at it.
I don't think it's a good idea to earmark monies because then you lose control of them.
Right.
They can only go in one direction, and we don't have a crystal ball to really say whether or not that's a good idea. And we have a call, I believe.
Wow.
At least we were told a couple of minutes ago we had a call. So let's see who's on the line. Hello? Hello? No, they must have hung up. Okay, well, we're back.
Hopefully they'll give it another try.
Yeah. Don't be impatient,
So I think we're going to end
We
up.
got plenty of time here. 20 minutes left until 8 o'clock. So call us again, 978-374-1900.
I think we're going to slug it out and try to come up with the best game plan for Haverhill. And it'll be an interesting year.
It will be. And the other thing that I think we're also good at is being honest. And if we need to make a change, we can always make a change.
Right.
If we don't get it quite right, we can add to it, take away whatever we need to do to make sure that it's being done in the best way possible for the community.
What I don't like to hear, is do it, solely for the economic aspects. The fact that it's going to bring money to your city. In one way, I'm encouraged, right? Because now folks that wouldn't talk about economic development at all are starting to, associate, the marijuana, recreational marijuana, with pot bars, and the fact that they're going to be giving money to the cities, right? So the first thing that comes to my mind is, what about the good jobs for the future? Come on, let's get on that bandwagon. Right? The good jobs for the future. Those are the jobs that we want. We want to bring money in and also provide good jobs for, the kids in our city, for the adults in our city, and, get that solid money in that can help us with, with education and public safety, but also, very positive, building for the future, the kind of jobs that we really want here that we've been hoping for.
Right. But if they had, and they can't because of federal regulations, but if they had said that marijuana could be sold at pharmacies, would it have the same concerns, or if CVS or Walgreens was doing it? If they were going to put an addition on inside or outside of one of their current buildings
for medical
marijuana.
I think for medical that probably made the most sense of all.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to have it,
I thought so too. But they didn't do that.
But
I don't think it would have the distaste.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. So it's perception too.
But the recreational, that's a different story. I don't see CVS playing a role in that one.
I don't either. Well, they won't even sell cigarettes.
They don't even sell cigarettes.
They stopped selling cigarettes. So.
The only thing you can get, I believe, is you can't even get chewing tobacco there anymore. You can get that at some of the other fast stores in the city, but you can't get it at CVS.
Yeah, well, I give them credit for drawing some standards that
Absolutely.
they believe, and I agree. So That's not a bad thing. Well, 978-374 is our connect number to the open mic program. And do we have a call? We do have a call. Let's see if it's this time still on the line. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right. I was just listening. Was it with the medical marijuana, is that for like cancer or something like that? To relieve, let's say if you have terminal cancer?
I think
that's one of the uses.
One of the uses, yeah. It's a medicinal purpose. And
That's
so,
what's that mean, medicinal?
Well, like medicine. It's like medicine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
No, I don't have it. I mean, thank God.
Thank
But
God.
was it-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it does. There's hundreds of things, I guess, that a doctor who is certified to write a medical prescription for marijuana, there's hundreds of things that they can prescribe it for. That's my understanding.
Oh, okay.
And some of it is pain relief, and as I said, some of it could just be. I think they also have it's CBD, which is the compound which will relieve the pain. They put it into a cream, so that you could have a problem with cramping legs or something, and you might find that you would get a relief just by using it like a store-bought cream. So
it's not like.
But you won't get high from it.
Oh, okay. This medical marijuana. This is not like a morphine, is it?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. All right.
no.
I'm not a doctor, but I was just curious.
No, and it's it's something that I think believe me, I can't speak from experience, but I can tell you that learning over the last number of years from the time it was first voted in, and the local city council working on learning about the first permit that came to the city and getting the state information. I think there's some good to it. I just think we have to be cautious, as President Michitson said, that we don't want it to be a gateway drug. So,
yeah, I see your
but
point.
they say that marijuana on the street is a gateway drug because the dealers will say, "Oh, geez, we don't have any pot, but I got some of this for you," and that won't be the case if we're retailing it legally in the city.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like they can give you a more potent drug because they're out of pot. That's not what it's going to be, and so in a sense, maybe it won't be as much of a gateway drug as it is now, being totally illegal.
Sounds like he wants to change the subject.
Go ahead, change the subject. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't mind talking about marijuana, but man, how about those Patriots? What was up with their defense? What was up with their defense?
I can't
Same
understand.
thing with Philly.
Yeah, I think Detroit actually flunked the IQ test. Why would they hire the defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots after that game? That was the worst defensive showing that I've ever seen from any team. That was embarrassing.
I know. I couldn't believe it. They were throwing bombs 20, 30 yards. I'm like, jeez.
And now he's going to be the head coach of
the Lions, Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
He's already shaved his beard off, and he's ready. He has.
No kidding.
So I don't think that was a smart move, and maybe that's why Detroit's had a rough go at it for probably ever since I've been around.
Good. Well, you know what? The defense started really bad at the beginning of the season. And then they seem to come around. They seem to come around, and then you're right.
They just fell apart.
Super Bowl game was terrible.
Well, they missed Hightower too. That's
yes, that was a big loss.
And I think all the teams, even the teams that are maybe not even 50-50 on wins, they all get up for playing the Patriots. They will always want to win.
Yes.
Against
Everybody does.
There's an adrenaline, I think, that flows. A super adrenaline when they're playing the Pats.
Yeah, I think the rest of the company hates Brady.
Yeah, that's true.
Like last week, I was filling up my car, and I saw this person from Pennsylvania had all Eagles and everything. They're jarring me. You know what I mean? They're jarring me. I said, "Yeah, you got one Super Bowl, right? But how many has Brady got?"
Yeah.
He shut up and took off.
Well,
did.
we'll see what happens next year. I'm not counting them out. They can be perpetual. As long as they get Brady and Belichick, and now Josh McDaniels appears to be the heir apparent for the
what do you think of Gronk?
Belichick chair.
You think Gronk will retire? I don't think so.
I don't think he'll retire. He was.
I think he wants to get paid.
He might want to get paid. I think they all want to get paid. But Gronk, from what I understand, what I've heard, he has not spent a dime of his salary, and as an NFL professional player, he lives off of his Dunkin' Donut commercials and all the promo stuff that he does.
I see.
But he's a wealthy man in the bank. He is not spending the money that they're paying, that Mr. Kraft's paying him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know.
But I think we still have a good team, and
I think so.
The Garoppolo thing, I don't know where to come down on that. He got paid big. He got paid big. Did you hear what he got for
127, I think, for what, 5-6 years?
6 years, yeah. But it's.
And he only started 4 or 5 games. They won all 4 or 5, but he only started that amount. So that's a big risk.
It's a big risk
on their part.
Yeah.
But he's a good guy, and it would have been great to keep him.
It would have been to have him on the sidelines, but supposedly this year's draft is going to be very deep on quarterbacks. So hopefully there'll be one or two good ones left for the 30th draw.
I heard the quarterbacks are not the greatest this year. That's what I heard.
Really? But there's a lot of them, I guess, that are going to be looking for an NFL position.
Like Kirk Cousins and all that, yeah.
Yeah, well.
Belichick will find somebody.
Yeah, he will. Somebody the least expected. Like Jimmy G. Nobody thought he was at the top of the list.
Right.
Look who he turned out to be. So
I know. All right, I'm going to let you go, people.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well,
hey, thanks for calling in. All right.
You got it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. This is the new open mic. I'm Bill Masick, and we're at 97.9 FM on the FM dial. We're also on Facebook. We're on HC Media Comcast in the Haverhill area and a number of other surrounding cable systems. We want to thank them all for allowing us to be part of their programming. It's 9 minutes till 8. My guest, City Council President John Michitson, is ready to take your question. 978-374-1900. That's the number to call if you have a question, a comment, if you'd like to just become part of our program here tonight. The open mic. Give us a call. John, what else do you see coming up? What's hot on the agenda tomorrow night?
Well, as far as I can see, the Cogswell School is probably the hottest item.
Yeah.
Extending their lease.
Yeah.
So that they can have enough time to pay the $175,000 for the building, and I think it's a great cause.
Oh, me too. And I don't know if you heard, if you were able to listen to Representative Linda Dean Campbell.
I did hear some.
She said that there's some additional funding coming their way, and I think that's fantastic.
Those are very creative people, and those are the kinds of ideas that we need, right, to kind of shape our future. And so I think it's wonderful.
What they're going to bring to the city we don't have. It's not like there's another group doing the same thing in duplicate. This is something important in the arts field that they're going to bring, and it's for all ages.
Yes.
What they have planned, and that group of people is like a blue ribbon panel. I saw it from the beginning. They are experienced. They know what to do. They've done it. And it's just great that we have them as an asset coming to the Cogswell School in Bradford.
So the dream that I have, right, is that you've got the iHub, the innovation hub now at UMass Lowell at Harbor Place, right? And so that is more so more of the engineering, the business, innovative businesses, startups, and so forth. And I'd love to see those two get together, the Innovation Hub and the Cogswell School creative forces.
There you go.
And you put those two together, and who knows what they can come up with.
That's right, synergy. Yep, that's great. Yeah. So that should be good. And, I just think we got so much. Haverhill has a lot going. And we really didn't ever slow down. Even through the rough times, Haverhill kept growing. We have land mass. We have a lot of assets that the average person maybe doesn't even realize about Haverhill. We've got so much area, unlike some of the other communities in the Merrimack Valley, we are the largest community in the Merrimack Valley, that you can drive to some of the rural areas of Haverhill and you think you're up in Maine or Vermont.
Right.
We've got we got farms, we got lakes, 7 golf courses,
Right.
Just so much going on here in Haverhill that people, the old reputation of Haverhill doesn't stick anymore.
It doesn't, but I do believe, though, that, we have to look under the hood.
Yeah.
Right? Public safety.
Yes, absolutely.
We did have a lot of this year.
The inner city is still a problem.
And public education, those teachers have a tough job
Yeah.
In the city. If we get over those humps, right, I think we're going to be sitting pretty as a city because we have all these other things that you were just speaking of.
Take off like
that
a rocket.
other cities don't have.
Right. That's
They don't
right.
have it. They don't have the recreational, opportunities that we have in the city.
That's right. They can't offer things just because they don't have the land mass for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you're the only guy I know who, it's not you, but your father was truly a rocket engineer.
Yes, he was. And if I have a minute, let
Go
me
ahead.
just say a word or two about that. So probably the funniest night at a city council meeting for me was back in the 1990s when he used to come to the council meetings, and he'd actually point his finger at me if he didn't like the position that I was taking, like I supported the high school renovation effort, okay, which was big bucks, and he gave me that finger. He kept pointing towards me, and
Now,
then
for the people that aren't people that aren't right now,
it's the
John,
index
I'm
finger.
going to say, yeah,
It's the
I
index.
got to spell out. It wasn't.
It's the index finger that he used to point at, and so he was taking heat from I think a couple of the other counselors, and he just got up and got to the mic. I think a couple of the counselors were using the term, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You know how that gets used
that's an old
often.
term. Yeah.
So he got up to the mic and said, "I am a rocket scientist," and the whole place was dying. What he really was a mechanical engineer. He worked on the lunar module, the first lunar module that landed on the moon, and he was part of the team that developed the guidance system that got the lunar module to the moon, and that's a fact.
No kidding.
That's a fact. And my mother used to say that he's the most ordinary, looking guy, and and behind it all, is a guy that did some thinking.
Yeah, I guess
he did a lot
some
of thinking.
brain power. Yeah, no. Did you see the last launch they just had with that 3-jet last week?
Oh yes.
Did you see the 2 that came back and landed on the ground?
Unbelievable.
It was like a
pretty soon you
like
and
a,
I
like a George Lucas film I was watching.
I think I think you're going to do before you're done. You're going to be holding the open mic from the moon.
Maybe we
right?
could take the show on location to the moon.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like to have me. All right, we're going to take a quick call right now, and then we're going to have to wrap up right here on the new open mic. I'm Bill Masick, and my guest is City Council President John Michitson. Hello, caller.
Hello, Bill.
Hello.
Hello, it's Bill.
Hey, how are you?
Hiya, this is Dr. Jerry Boucher.
Yes.
Hey, Jerry, John Michitson, how are you?
How you doing, my friend?
Great. John's
Good.
doing great,
I just
too.
want to ask John a question.
Go ahead.
Never mind about the moon. I'd like to send a lot of people to the moon right now. But anyways, they're looking for volunteers. I can give them a list. But, John, if they, there's so many shootings and a lot of violence going on in Haverhill, how can the mayor say that crime is down? Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think I can explain that. So if you look at the crime statistics, I think in most cities and towns the last few years since the economy has been getting better, right? Most of the, let's call it the nonviolent crimes, have subsided. So people are stealing less out of your house, those kinds of things. So I don't think, I think he's accurate on that. The problem is, though, that is outweighed by a magnitude of 100 times with the shootings that we're having in the city. I don't care about those other statistics.
Well, you're right.
That's
You're right.
that's the one statistic that really we really have to nail that, because it's going to start showing up in a lot of other things that we do in the city. You know, companies won't want to come here, people won't want to come here, and so we just have to nail that. And I think we can do it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
when you
agree.
get a- when
And
you
you
get
have
a
it right.
mayor
You hit the
again.
nail right on the head. So, and you know what, Jerry? Most of those shootings, if not all of them, it's gang versus gang. It's not like they're just doing drive-bys, shooting people that they don't know. There's a reason for those gunshots.
Well, that's true, but that's getting worse, though.
Well, but if it's not breaking out of the gang sector, I know it's getting worse. We still need to stop it, but it doesn't. It's an unsafe community.
But they had a shooting right in front of my house there about a month ago on Hilldale, and if I was going across the street, I'm going to have to wear my flap jacket and helmet again.
Is that the one that was in the little plaza?
Yes.
Yeah, that too was a domestic, believe it or not, husband and
Wow.
wife. Yeah. So, again, it's not reaching out to unknowns. We're going to need to wrap it up here, Jerry. I'm very sorry that we have to do that to you, but thank you for calling in, and call in again any night, okay?
Okay, my friend.
Okay, Doctor, thank you for calling.
Okay, John.
That's
you
right.
Keep up the good work.
Okay.
But both of you're too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
John, thank you for being my guest.
Hey, it was
open
a-
door here.
it was a
Anytime you want to
pleasure.
say anything, just give us a call right here on the new open mic on WHAV 97.9 FM.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks, John.
Open mic.
Join Bill Masek live on the new Open Mic again next Monday night at 6. The opinions expressed on the Open Mic Show are not necessarily those of 97.9 WHAV FM, its underwriters, or affiliated stations. The Open Mic Show came to you from the Edwin V. Johnson Newsroom.